And when we start a presentation at Royal Roads University, we like to acknowledge the indigenous lands we're on. So maybe just take a deep breath, connect your feet to the ground, and just relate to the indigenous lands that you might be joining on from today. And if you know it, please enter it in the chat. Railroad University, we're located on the traditional land of the Lakwagan and Kosapsan families and nation, also known as the Sonhi and Esquimalt families. It is with deep gratitude that we now learn, play, work on those lands where the past, present, and future of Indigenous and non-Indigenous people come together. Thank you for listening. Thank you. I see some people using the chat. Thank you for this. And I hope everybody's in the good Zoom room. So we're here to talk about the tourism and hospitality undergrad programs. We'll talk about the 16-month option, and we'll give you a bit of info about the regular 24 months as well. I'm super pleased to be joined by Eugene, the school director. Hi, Eugene.
Hello there. Good morning.
Thank you for being with
or
us.
Afternoon.
Yes, depending where we're joining from, exactly, because we know that there's people from everywhere in the world tuning in today. And I'm Nancy Prévost-Maurice. I'm an education specialist here at Royal Roads University. So I'm helping students with recruitment, and I am myself a student doing a master at Royal Roads. So I can even answer questions about being a student at Royal Roads University. And in the chat, thank you, Tracy Summers, for being here. Tracy is with Enrolment Services, and she will be adding link and answering any question as we go. And what's the agenda for today? So we'll do a brief overview of Royal Roads. We'll talk about the programs, two programs, the two undergrads. We'll talk about the application process, and we'll have a Q&A. And before we get started, let's see here if I can launch a poll. If some of you can answer the question, what brings you to this session today? I'll just give you a few seconds here. If you want to select one of the options, learning more about the programs, perfect. Someone is raising their hand. I might be able to have a few minutes at the end to answer a question, but I think for now, if you don't mind to just answer the poll, perfect. Everybody answered, they want to learn more about the programs. Perfect, Eugene, we have a plan. And as we continue here, I have a quick videos I wanted to share. Maybe that will be my next slide here. So I'll just tell you a little bit more about Royal Roads. Maybe you can use your reaction feature to use a thumbs up if you came to campus before. So Royal Roads University, we are in Colwood. We're a few minutes from Victoria, the capital of British Columbia. And here on the top left, you can see Hatley Castle, which is one of the most iconic buildings we have on campus. So it was built in 1908. Believe it or not, it was I am so sorry about that. I was telling everyone that it's windy here and I think my internet is not liking it. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, phew, fantastic. Thank you, everyone. So I was telling you about the Esquimalt Lagoon here at the bottom left and online learning for 25 years. So I know the programs we'll talk today are mostly on campus, but if you come sometime for another program or you have information on maybe other programs or maybe the grad certificate that we offer after the bachelor, so those are options that we do online. And since day one, Royal Roads University has been built for working professional. So we'll talk about it, how it influenced our cohort here. And as we continue, I hope, let me stop sharing and I'll reshare my screen just to make sure you can access the sound option here. Because we have a 90 seconds videos, because I love videos. I think they talk by themselves, just to present you with the campus here.
Welcome to Royal Roads University. Our spectacular oceanfront 260-acre campus lies at the southern tip of Vancouver Island, a National Historic Site surrounded by old-growth forest.
Whoops, sorry about that.
Royal Roads is only a 25-minute drive from downtown Victoria, the capital of British Columbia. Our campus is located on the traditional lands of the Kosupsum and Lekwungen ancestors and families. Here, you'll find a life-changing education in an inspirational learning environment like no other. The first place you'll want to visit on campus is the Sequoia Building. The welcome desk is open daily to help you settle in and start your Royal Roads journey. The centerpiece of Royal Roads University is the historic Hatley Castle. You may recognize it from countless television shows and feature films. In fact, Hollywood blockbusters X-Men and Deadpool were both shot here. One of the things that makes the Royal Roads campus so special is our outdoor spaces. We've got lots of social gathering spots and even more places to just be by yourself. With Canada's mildest climate, you're able to enjoy the outdoors any time of year. While there are countless other spaces on campus that we'd love to share with you, you'll have to just see them for yourself.
Great, and we'll continue here. I'll just have a quick look in the chat. Perfect. Some people are introducing themselves, and I see some more people have joined, some people from Royal Road as well. Thank you for being here. So you might ask yourself, why explore Royal Road University? And I know that Eugene will go through all the programs, what we do in the programs and the outcomes, but really talking about the institution here. So first bullet point, we see life as a qualification. When I'll discuss the admission process, you will see that for us, it really matters where you're coming from, where you are now, and where you want to go. So it's really a holistic approach to really work with you to bring you up to speed in your career. Prof who know your name. So that's true. As I said, I'm a student myself. This is very true. When we connect with instructors, they know our name. It's not just a number. It's really, they will get to know you and you get to know the instructor as well. And most instructors are working in the field and they have so many contacts everywhere in the world. Learning based on life. What you learn in the classroom will be things that you can apply to your daily job. So maybe you will be working at the same time, maybe you won't, but everything that you experience in life, you can bring it to the classroom and discuss it with the cohort, which really bring a richness, I find, to the education model. Connection for life, we have a beautiful network of thousands of alumni everywhere in the world, and the people you'll meet in the cohort will most likely be in touch with you 10, 15 years after your education, and you're still in touch with them and you can help each other. And we were built differently. As I mentioned, Royal Roads University, we have a different model and we are online for 25 years. We have programs that are on campus, online, or a blend of both. So we were really built differently. And the online education we provide as well, it's not something we had to pivot to during COVID, for example. It's really something we do since day one. So we're a new university, but we're really all about innovation, entrepreneurship, and being different. And this is why we're called a Changemaker campus. So Ashoka U is an accreditation we're really proud of. This is an accreditation that only a few institutions have in Canada and the States. And as you can see here, it's really how to address world problems, encourage others, and act for the good of all. So I hope that that gives you some little information about the institution and why joining us, as I pass it over to Eugene to really a little bit deeper into the programs and what we learn in this program here. Thank you, Eugene.
Thank you very much, Nancy. So I guess, yes, talking about tourism and hospitality management at Royal Roads and talking about tourism and hospitality in general. I know some people, and addressing the elephant in the room, we watched what happened during COVID with there being a bit of instability. But if you see any of the news reports now, you can see how the industry has come back and actually come back in a tremendous fashion, where right now we're taking a look at, we've heard the latest figures, I think over 20,000 positions that are currently unfilled. and they're expecting that number to just grow over the next 10 to 15 years. So the number of people that are needed within the industry is huge. And so when we talk about Royal Roads, what this training does, or what this education does, is it gives you that step forward, or that leg up on the industry, on those opportunities. So next slide. You can see here's some of the things I was talking about the number of positions that are going short. Just if you permit me, just as a very quick example, we've got several of our students who have gone from that sort of entry-level position all the way up into management within a very short time, because of these opportunities, and because they've got the education behind them, the training behind them, that has allowed them to see these opportunities and to take advantage of the opportunities. So it is a terrific time to get your education and to get into the industry. Next slide. One of the things that always amazes people is the number of opportunities and the range of opportunities that are in tourism and hospitality. Of course, you've got some of your typical opportunities, like the hotels, restaurants, tour operations, and things like that. But you've also got casinos, museums, resorts. A couple of weeks ago, we took students around to Fort Rod Hill, which is a National Historic Site administered by Parks Canada, and talked about the opportunities there. So there's quite a range of different directions, because within tourism and hospitality, you have all of those traditional business opportunities, like the finance, like marketing, like human resources, sales, areas like that. The other thing that's a huge opportunity right now within the industry is this growing shift and a growing importance of sustainability. And because of the role that sustainability is playing, not only in our industry, but globally, sustainability is what we do within tourism and hospitality. So when you have opportunities in the broader community, in the broader economic environment, those are areas that people trained in tourism and hospitality on sustainability, where they can take advantage of these opportunities. Next slide.
I like what you said, Eugene. It makes me think of people talking about traditional jobs sometimes versus kind of other job that we can pivot with that training.
For sure, yes. And that's one of the nice things about all of our students, is they have that opportunity to pivot. And we've had students go through our programs and get into things like real estate and banking and other opportunities as well. Because I guess at the heart of tourism and hospitality is that being hospitable and knowing good customer service, knowing how to interact with people and listen to them, which are valuable skills no matter what field you go into. So I guess one of the things we wanted to talk about, or wanted to focus in on today in particular, was the 16-month option within the tourism and the hospitality, or the hotel management programs. What it means is your typical term for either one of the two undergraduate degrees would normally be 24 months. And so that would be 2 semesters, then you have a summer break, another 2 semesters, and the final either break or when you're doing your internship. What the 16-month option does, though, is it speeds up that process. It gives you that opportunity to get into industry that much faster. You're taking all the same courses, so there isn't any loss in the education, the loss in the experiences that you're getting as far as what you come out with your learning opportunities, but it allows you to get out there that much quicker. For some people, that means not having to pay for your room and board for as long, things like that. But there are definite differences between the two, and it's important for people to think about why they were going through the different programs, what might be most beneficial to them, and what sort of experience they want to have. I'll quickly go through some of these differences between the two ways that you can go through the programs. However, if there's any questions or any doubt, it's probably a good thing for you to talk to us. We have skilled registration people, administration people that know all of the ins and outs of the two programs. In addition to that, all of us in the school are very happy to walk you through the differences to the programs. So as you can see from this terrific little chart here, that on the 16-month and the 24-month, they're both on-campus programs. There's a few online courses, but in general, it's an on-campus course. They both include internships, and with the internships, you have a variety of directions that you can go with that, both nationally and internationally. So there's lots of opportunities there. And you're still dealing with very much the same or similar sorts of people with the cohorts. One of the big differences that you'll notice, first off, is in the 16-month version, you would not have a summer break after those first 2 terms. What happens is you do the first 2 terms of courses, and then you would do your internship before coming back to school that following September and finishing off with your final semester. So that's one difference. Whereas the 24-month, you do the first 2 terms. You have a summer break that if you want to, you can do an internship, but you don't have to. So there's an opportunity there to take a bit of a break and to step away. International exchange opportunities. Again, because of the compressed nature of the 16-month option, there really isn't that opportunity for you to have an international exchange. And we'll talk about the international exchange possibilities in just a few moments, but that would not be possible through the 16-month option. Like I said, much quicker you're getting out into the workforce, about 8 months faster. The 24 months does give you a little bit more time because you're taking a few fewer classes in every semester. So you've got a little bit more time with the 24 months to absorb all of the information, to integrate it, to really think about it. And finally, with the 16-month, if you do decide you want to go into the 16-month and then partway into it, you decide, no, this really isn't for me, there is still the opportunity to shift into the 24-month. However, with the 24-month, once you've taken that option, you can't shift back into the 16 months. So that's one of the important differences there. Next slide. So some of the things that you're going to experience in the hotel management or the tourism management programs are essentially much smaller class sizes than you would see in your typical university. A typical class size, you're looking at the 20 to 40 person range, usually about 25 or 30 thereabouts. So a much smaller, much more personal sort of situation, which allows for a lot more personal interaction, not only with your fellow classmates, but also with the instructors. These are very applied degrees. So by that, you're learning not only the theory behind the different concepts, but you're getting a lot of the practical experience as well. One of the main reasons for that is because a lot of our instructors are actually teaching part-time and working full-time. So we have people here teaching things like policy and planning that work for the government. We have people talking about hotel management that are running a hotel at the exact same time. So there is that nice applied practical side to all of our programs. The team projects, opportunity to learn how to work in team projects, and you get support through that team projects, which is such an important skill with nowadays with how things work. As much as possible, we try to get students out of the classroom. So rather than just talking to you about hotel management, we get you out into a hotel. Instead of just talking about destination management, we get you to meet with and take a look at managing a destination or running an actual event. So some real classroom learning. As I mentioned, we've got some international opportunities, which we'll talk about in a moment, and definitely some career development that we will help you through the whole process to ensure that you get fantastic jobs. Yeah, next slide. So I'm not going to go through this whole list of possible courses and that sort of thing. This is just to show you the range of types of courses that you take. In this case, in the Global Tourism Management courses, just to highlight a couple of things, special events management, where the students actually have an opportunity to help run an event. Destination management and marketing, where people are meeting up with destination marketers and managers. We've got a field study course that I would love to talk to you about if we have time. We just got back from Mexico with our field study at the start of January, which was an incredible experience. And we have something that's a special topics course where we bring in instructors from around the world to talk about certain topics or certain ideas. Next slide. Again, like the tourism program, the International Hotel Management program really leans into how you actually run a hotel and hotel management. And since we've got Moira McDonald, the program head for the hotel management program, it'd be terrific to hear directly from her about the program.
Hey, Eugene, thank you so much. Thanks, everybody. I'm in Kamloops today on the traditional lands of the Shuswap Indigenous communities here today. I'm here for a Sustainable Tourism Conference tomorrow. And what's really beautiful is that much of this conference is being run by graduates of Royal Roads and have their action from their education at play here now, which is very exciting. I just wanted to mention the courses that you see. There's also a lot of fun going on right now that we're seeing in the industry. And Eugene mentioned, how things have taken a turn that's become a positive turn into how we work. And so the Generation Z employees, they want more. They want a work-life balance. They want to know, what this career will be. And we're noticing as well that employers are responding, and they're responding. They're also posting positions on LinkedIn, and they're posting positions with salaries, at least the range at the very minimum, which we were not seeing in the past. So everything has become very transparent, and people are really trying to allow the next careerist group and generation to carve out what they're looking for in this industry. And there's a passion for that that type of leadership if you're front facing, but there's also the activities of being a great peer-to-peer leader. So you could be also doing any of the business work under the umbrella of tourism and hospitality in accounting offices, also in the sales offices. I overheard Eugene mention earlier, negotiating skills is a very big piece of driving revenue. So all of those pieces really come to fruition when you're getting your education. And the big players, the big luxury brand hotelier players are using their education pillar with us. So there is that in tandem piece where they're looking to work very closely, as well as in British Columbia, the Hospitality Association, very focused on what we're doing in the curriculum and being very much a part of that strategizing and critical thinking. So while there are credits and courses and degrees, there's also a lot of fun in the industry. The friendships are abundant. The people that are helping each other, reaching forward and reaching back and keeping people going in a very positive way is what we're seeing. It's been very good to see the changes that are happening for this up and coming career group and this generation. So we're very excited for you. If there are any specific questions, you can follow me on LinkedIn as well, please, and feel free to send me a question there. I'd be happy to respond. And of course, the accelerated program gets you out into the workforce to get your career moving even faster. They need you. Thank you.
Well, just to follow up on something that you said there, Moira, about how the industry is changing. It was interesting, you know, both Moira and I and those of us in the school, we're often at some of these conferences and talking to people from industry. And for the very first time, at least that I can remember, having employers talk about, okay, you know, what might be a schedule that will work for the employees, rather than strictly coming from that employer perspective. So they are really opening up as far as trying to be more, I guess, listening to the current generation, really shifting towards what are the people want and how do they want to come to work and how do they want to have that experience, which we haven't always seen.
Very true, and this generation will be hiring the Gen A's coming through. So, you know, really figuring out those leadership skills that are required to perform those leadership duties with the next generation that they'll be hiring. So there's lots of exciting frontier here.
Definitely. And, you know, as both Moira and I have been mentioning, there's all these opportunities within the industry right now and opportunities to move up quickly within the industry. One of the things that we do very well at the school is all of our students have been employed. They graduate and they're in the industry, and it's actually really neat for us to see where they're all going. Like Moira mentioning, this conference being run by former students of ours, going to some of these big conferences and seeing where all of our students are, the managers and the leaders that are coming up and through, which is terrific to see. They've got not only those sort of hard skills of the finance and the HR, but they've got all of the soft skills as well. Things like the global awareness, like the critical thinking and problem solving, understanding how to work in multicultural teams and how to be leaders when it's required. So it's terrific to see how successful our students are within the industry. And as Moira was also mentioning, it's a real community within tourism and hospitality. It's amazing how connected everyone is and how small, how big, but how small the community is.
Well, Eugene, I just got a knock on the door, and I have a lovely chocolates and a card from one of our former grads that's running the place here. So who knew?
There you go. So those are the little benefits of the little perks of also being in the tourism and hospitality industry. You know, we do get to go to some fantastic places and work in some incredible experiences. Not surprising, one of my sons is working up in Whistler and loving his life up there, snowboarding when he's not working and working when he's not snowboarding. So lots of opportunities. Next
Thank
slide.
you. Yeah. And someone
Oh.
was asking me, Eugene, what's the difference of doing the work and studying? And I think we discussed that with the school a few times. And what I heard from your students too was sometimes if you, let's say you don't study and then you start a job in tourism and hospitality, it might take you 5, 10, 15 years to reach a certain level, right? But with an education, then you reach way faster. So that will be my why.
Exactly. That's the thing, that yes, you can work your way through sometimes without it. A lot of people end up hitting the wall where they cannot progress any further without the education, or like you're mentioning there, you move further up much faster with the education because you understand, you get the industry, you get people, you understand all of these things, and you're able to make the connections that you might not otherwise be able to without the education. So, and this is just a sense of some of the sorts of fun things that we do with our students when we get them out of class. There's always some sort of learning to it, but getting them out of the classroom and giving them those practical skills, practical opportunities, practical networking opportunities. So at every one of these sort of events, not only are they getting that opportunity to apply what they've been learning, but they get to have these incredible experiences, and they get to meet fantastic people throughout the industry who may in the future be either colleagues and or employers. Yeah, go ahead. So now I mentioned earlier, international opportunities to go different locations. There's lots of places that you can go for a term as an exchange student. So these are some of the locations that are available in Europe. Next slide. But we've got locations elsewhere in the world as well. So Vietnam, Sydney, Australia, South Korea, or Chile, where you can, what happens is you are paying your schooling as per normal with Royal Roads, but you spend one semester at one of these locations that are around the world. Not only that, but we have, because we've got these connections with these different institutions, we have students from these various institutions also coming into our programs and really enriching them. If you are at all interested in some of these exchange opportunities, a good thing to remember is there's also often various funding opportunities for you. So when you're going to some of these locations, often there is opportunities to get some money through the university or through various funds to help pay. So you get to spend your semester in one of these incredible locations, and it doesn't cost you the full thing out of your own pocket. So, kind of a win-win opportunity. And for some of these locations, maybe an opportunity to learn another language as well. Next slide. For your internship, I mentioned earlier that you can actually do your internship anywhere around the world. So these are just a a suggestion or a hint of some of the locations that people have gone for their internships. You can see all over North America, but various places across across Europe to Africa, Asia, and all the way down to Australia for their internship. These are quite often a good way for all of you to get your foot in the door and to get a sense of the sorts of jobs that are out there for you. Sometimes, you know, as an internship, maybe it's a learning experience of a job that you don't want to do, but often it's that opportunity to, it's that first step in the door. And a lot of employers are maybe a little bit more willing to give you opportunities as an intern that they may not necessarily if you're not as an intern, because you don't have that sort of education and that support behind you. So definitely talk to us about these internship opportunities as well. Some of the options into the program. So for most students in the program, the opportunities generally occur at the year 3 stage. Some students will come into the program at year 1 and 2, but the majority of our students join us in year 3. So we are a degree completion program as well as years 1 and 2 for international students. Degree completion means that you've taken your diploma either at a college or some other institution. And that's a more typical way that we'll have students come into our program. There's also the opportunity with the flexible entry that maybe you don't have a diploma behind you, but you've got many years of experience. Then you have that opportunity to possibly come into years 3 and 4 without that formal education behind you. So there's lots of opportunities, and we have so many connections or so many paths with other institutions for coming into our program. As you can see, 16 or 24 months. If you click on just forward, and then we've got the internship that kind of completes or finishes off the international hotel management or the global tourism management programs. And for those of you so inclined, there's even a graduate program here at Royal Roads, the MA in Tourism Management program, that if you want to, you can move into that as well.
Great, thank you, Eugene. And I got a question. People were saying the 16 or 24 months would be for year 3 and 4, correct?
That's correct.
So it's not,
yes.
we don't do the 4 years really condensed, so perfect. That would be too much.
That would be insane.
And just can I add a quick comment to build on your good work there, Eugene? There's a need for creativity from this generation of learners coming forward. We're looking for people who can figure things out in a way that has, some, maybe it's artificial intelligence, maybe there's some analytics, maybe you just see a system and you think it's broken and you know how to fix it. So that systems thinking approach, an example, if anyone's been to the Banff Springs Hotel, one day an employee said, "Why are all the phones ringing constantly at this front desk? We can't answer the guest in front of us because we're answering the guest on the phone." And they just started to build out to solve problems. And this person then took the problem and was able to get some traction. And all of a sudden, a whole new department evolved from that one problem identification and looked at it as something that could be fixed. So when you're in these courses, when you're looking at completing the degree, when you're in your internship, if there's research that you want to do with your employer, if there's a problem you'd like to solve, this is how we also amplify your education experience, because we can help with that. So no longer are their phones ringing off the hook at the beautiful Banff Springs Hotel. It goes directly to a department called Royal Service. And these are the ideas that just percolate from people who are looking at the work from a business lens, as well as the fact that they're enjoying the work. So overall, the education really does play a big role here. And we're here also as partners in your education, and even as alumni later. You know, there could be an idea that you want to bring forward. So solving these real world problems that we're faced with today, it's a little more complicated than a service problem with a lot of phones ringing. And so how are we doing that? And I think when Eugene was mentioning the Masters of Arts in Tourism Management, that's another conversation as well. But the accelerated program gets you moving, and gets you moving faster, and gets you into the industry to start solving some of those problems, and to put, to put your reputation to good use as someone who's serious about their career. So I was just thinking about that as you were going through this slide, Eugene. Thank you.
Thanks, Maura.
Before I move on to how to apply, Eugene, do you want to take a few minutes to tell us about the Mexico field trip?
Sure, I'll just briefly mention it, and I'd love to, if anyone's interested, that they can contact me later to chat about it. And I know that there is a short video that includes a few pictures from it as well. But it was something that we had been working on for a long time within the Global Tourism Management Program. And this past January, we actually saw it come together, where we had a group of students. We went down to Mexico. We met up with a partner that we have down there called ETESO, that's based in Guadalajara. And we started in Puerto Vallarta, went up the coast to a turtle conservation sanctuary. We camped on a beach at this conservation camp and helped out at this conservation camp. So those of you that might have heard of voluntourism before, that's exactly what we were doing. We helped gather up turtle eggs once they were laid by the sea turtles. We helped release baby turtles back into the ocean. We also did some hard labor. We helped rebuild a wall that had been destroyed during the last hurricane. But through all of it, the students had a fantastic time. They loved the fact that we were helping to give back to helping conserve these turtles. Plus, we were camping on this absolutely gorgeous, unbelievable beach in Mexico with hardly anyone around us. So it was a terrific experience. Went from there, we went to Guadalajara, the second largest city in Mexico, and got to experience some of the culture and the life and the history and everything of Guadalajara, the food, the people, everything like that. But the students said that the highlight of their experience in Guadalajara was on the second evening when we went to see something called La Lucha Libre, which is essentially Mexican wrestling. And we were probably the only non-locals at this thing. The students had an incredible time. They even ran up to the ring and got their pictures taken with the wrestlers. So an incredible experience. Then we went from there into some rural tourism. And we stayed at this boutique hotel that was formerly a probably 150 or 200-year-old hacienda. We stayed there. We learned all about this drink called raicilla, which the area is trying to use almost like in the Okanagan, a wine tour, well, a raicilla tour of all of these communities. But again, with that sort of educational lens on it, recognizing that, for example, this one school that's in the town of Mascota is being principally funded through the sales of these agave plants that are being grown for the raicilla industry. So because of the raicilla industry, because of tourism and hospitality, it's helping to run a school in this community in Mexico. So again, really seeing how tourism and hospitality is so much more than what people probably generally think about when they think about tourism and hospitality, how much it can contribute to the well-being of people and communities and the environment and the cultures. So it was an incredible experience. And then we ended up back in Puerto Vallarta, where the students spent another couple of days just relaxing and getting to know the food and the culture and on the beach, and then back to Canada. So all in all, and I've said this to a few people, but every single day the students were saying, oh, this is the best day ever. Oh, this is the best day ever. They couldn't believe they had this opportunity within the program to mesh that learning and experience at the same time. So, so thanks, Nancy.
Yeah, that's lovely. And is it a picture that you took over there in your background?
Yes, so this background behind me is one of the areas. It's called Ahuacatepec or Los Volcanes, and as you might expect, those are all extinct volcanoes that are kind of in the background, and then in the foreground are the agave that's used to create this raicilla drink. So yes, this is one of the areas that we visited.
That's fantastic. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. And I'll
Thanks.
just continue here. And I'm just looking in the chat. Please feel free to ask questions in the chat for Maura, Eugene, myself, Tracy as well. And we'll make sure to share all those links and answer with the recording. But how to apply at Railroad? So if you're thinking you want to join our cohort, you will go online, and I'll have a slide about it for the 10 steps to follow. But at Railroads, what I really like is that we do two types of admission. So we have the standard one, the one that maybe you heard from other universities. So the standard one would be, we require of you to have 2 years of 60 credits post-secondary education in university transfer or diploma program in areas such as hospitality, tourism, or business administration. 24 of those credits should be second year level. We ask of a B average. And we, again, because we said we're a year 3 and 4 completion degree, that means we want you to have a bit of experience. So we ask for 400 hours tourism, hospitality related work experience. And if you're thinking of doing the international hotel management, then we will ask you for a financial accounting course with a minimum grade of C. And I know many people in the call connected with me before, saying they were from some college partners. So we have a list of institutions that if you're doing your college diploma, you have kind of that direct entry with us if you respect that B average and the experience. So this is what we call the standard admission. If you don't recognize yourself, and I see in the chat, some people were saying you were studying in another field, you're doing something else, as long as you have some experience, then we might be able to consider you with what we call flexible admission. So it's hard for us in a Zoom call like this to really analyze each of your maybe life institution and lifelong learning. But this is why I'll have a slide to let you know how to reach out to Enrolment Services. When you apply, you don't have to check a box to say, I want to be standard or flexible admission. That will be the admission advisor at Railroad University who will decide looking at your documents. So flexible admission, this is what I'm excited about, because that gives the opportunity to way more people to join our cohort, and that brings that really beautiful diversity into the classroom. So this is something we review on a case-by-case basis. We consider the work experience in the hotel tourism industry, and we ask for about 5 years of mid to upper level professional experience. And again, if you want to apply for the international hotel management, then we ask that you have some I would say finance background, if I interpret that correctly. And we write at the bottom there, solid academic writing skill and critical thinking. And we have with Royal Road another department called Professional and Continuous Studies, and they have some courses that you might want to take. For example, if you have been away from school for a few years and you're joining again, maybe you want to get up to speed before you start your program, because you'll be joining at year 3 and 4. So we want you to have that background to be set up for success. And Eugene and Maura, would you like to add anything to those slides?
Moira's had to go back to her conference.
Okay.
But I guess the one thing that I would suggest is definitely with the flexible admission, make sure you contact admissions, because things that you might not think about as being part of your work experience, you might have more experience both for flexible and for the standard admission that may be applicable. For example, if you've done your internship is work experience. So at the college level. So definitely take a look at all of those opportunities. And if you have any questions whatsoever, please contact us with your questions.
Yeah, very true. We don't want you to stay there and struggle and overthink it. So you just connect with us and then we can review and assist you. And some people were asking as well in the chat, when is the next intake? So here we are. We have, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Eugene, but the 16 and 24 months will start on the same dates.
Exactly, yes.
And we have, perfect, and we have an intake per year. So we have September coming up. And this is wonderful because we're doing the webinar a bit in advance for you to have time to plan ahead and start your application process. That you are domestic or international students, you have enough time typically now to start this application because we're a few months before the intake. So don't wait too long because we do admission on a daily basis. So don't wait until June 5th, please, to apply. You can already start the process and start submitting your document. If you're thinking maybe you're at college right now and you'll be done next year, then you can join the 2024 or 2025 intake. And how to apply, as I mentioned, you will go at royalroads.ca. You will find the application button there. Pay your online fee of $131.39, and then you'll start submitting your documents. So we ask official transcript. So this is all the transcript from past post-secondary institution that you have. They can be from Canada, they can be from abroad, but we want to see them. We ask you to do a personal statement, and a little bit like Eugene just mentioned, this is where you can reflect on what you have achieved in your life. And sometimes we forget about what we did volunteering, or maybe at college or in another institution, you were involved with some committees or you did some work there. So really reflect where you're coming from. And this statement can also help you if there's like something that happened in another degree and you have like, let's say, bad grade or not so good grade. This is your opportunity to let us know why. So we really want to see the full person that you are. And we require as well a detailed resume. So a little bit like a work resume, but you will add all the details you can there so we can get to know you. If the admission advisor decide that you will come through Royal Road through a flexible admission, then we will require 2 letters of reference. Hopefully one from an academic person you know, and one from a professional that you know. And there's way more details and guidance on the website about all those documents. Anything to add there, Eugene?
Well, actually, I do. And I don't know if I should be saying this yet, but I will definitely let you know. We're actually going through a change right now where if you are on standard admission, you will not have to do the personal statement or the detailed resume.
I heard that. That's good news.
For the flexible students. So if you are a standard admission, like any other institution, it'll just be based upon your official transcripts.
Fantastic.
So just to kind of streamline. Now for the flexible, definitely we will still need to see things like your personal statement and a detailed resume. That way we know a little bit more about whether or not the program is right for you and you're right for the program and all of those sort of elements. But as a standard admission, just the official transcript will be required.
And you make me think, Eugene, that for now as well, most applicants, so you will have to send most documents to our admission office. But in the coming months, I heard too that we will have a new system that will allow everybody to upload the documents. So stay tuned for that. But as soon as you apply, we will keep you in the loop of all those beautiful progress that we're doing to make it easier for people like the people in the room right now to apply. And I will just, yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say exactly.
Fantastic. And as the people in the room here, you're not a student yet. When you're a student, you have a bunch of services available for you at Royal Roads, but at least now where you're at, you're like, oh, maybe I want to go back to school. Of course, the financial piece is huge. It's a huge component. So please feel free to reach out to the Financial Aid and Awards team at Royal Roads University. They can help you to find out internal, external grants and loans, and look what is available per province, per country as well. So there's always a little bit of money left somewhere. So I really encourage you to reach out to them sooner than later so you can find out how they can help in all the programs available. And Enrolment Services, I mentioned Tracy's in the chat with us today in the call. You can reach out to Tracy by her email, or you can email learn.more@royalroads.ca, or feel free to give them a call as well. And the team can meet with you on a Zoom call, send you more information. So you can really get all the information that you need. And thank you so much for joining. I like to end a presentation with a picture of a peacock, because we have about, 50 peacocks now on campus. And I really hope that you can come and meet us on campus and see those beautiful birds. Thank you, Eugene. Thank you, Tracy. And we can stay on for a few more minutes if people have questions. And if not, we'll send you the recording, and we hope to see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone, and looking forward to seeing you in our programs.